this young Asmongold? Yeah. Trying to encourage his... Oh my god, shut up, man. Yeah, it's reaction content. I mean, so there's two types, right? You got the lazy 3K streamer that doesn't give a f***. He's just quiet, eating. And you got what I do and what Asmongold does, which is giving your opinion about it. And I feel like what changes the entertainment of reaction content, it's the input of the person reacting. And that can go from the person just looking at you like... Why people hate Asmongold and why they are grown.
I find it quite strange how a lot of people on the internet just jump to conclusions without any hint of evidence. It's sad to see how critical thinking seems almost endangered among the chronically online. A lot of people just follow trends of hatred without actually taking the time to find evidence to back up their accusations. Just because a lot of people are saying something doesn't make it true. We've seen this happen with a lot of public figures, especially in recent years. A good example would be JK Rowling. I'm convinced the majority of people who hate her do so simply because others do, because it's become a popular trend. I remember watching a video on critical thinking by a teacher.
Like, even if it's not what it is, it just happens, right? Everybody thinks the way, then it's that way.
Warren Smith. In this video, Warren challenges a student of his to actually think for themselves on this exact topic. All he did was encourage his students to broaden his perspective and look into the situation himself, using rationality and critical thinking.
So let's get specific though. Let's define bigoted opinions. What opinions are bigoted? We're going to treat this as a thought experiment. I'm not going to say what's right or wrong or what way to think. The whole point is to learn how to.
Is this young Asmongold?
So when you say bigoted opinions,
yeah.
So first, let's start with, does she have bigoted opinions? So when you say bigoted,
that is a teacher that got fucked.
So I
got his life ruined
now
for.
That we're looking at it like, oh,
this teacher got his life ruined for. Trying to encourage his. Oh my god, shut up, man. He tried to encourage his students to think for themselves, and that caused the school to kick him.
There's not much difference between me or her.
To
Do you think
kick
it's
him.
fair that she's being attacked by a large group of people and people are calling her, like you said at the beginning of this conversation, you said, given the fact that J.K. Rowling is transphobic, how do you feel about Harry Potter? Now, retroactively looking at that statement, do you think that that was the best way to phrase?
No, I feel like an idiot now.
Warren Smith then apparently got fired from his teaching job for encouraging critical thinking.
Yeah, that's what it was
happened
saying.
yesterday. I was fired from my full-time teaching position.
This decline in critical thinking is one of the many reasons I believe a lot of people dislike Asmongold. In certain online spaces, especially among specific communities, there's a lot of hate towards him that is unwarranted and simply built on lies. The more I looked into this, the weirder this echo chamber became.
Asmongold is just like someone who makes a living off stealing from other people.
He's like, you're a racist motherfucker. Asmongold is a fascist. He's just like actually one of the purest examples of the moderate wing of fascism thing. Also, Asmongold's editor is a Nazi.
So Adolf Jr. over here.
This is the fake laugh he does, and I don't respect him at all. I don't know, maybe his audience is like 12-year-old boys. Maybe they really
That's a good one, yeah.
buy this.
Oh my god, that's the best one. That's crazy. Yeah, for sure. They're all 12-year-olds.
In my research for this video, I genuinely tried to find actual substantial reasons for the hate outside of the lies. I'm an advocate of trying to see both sides' perspectives on any topic, so I found quite a few videos on YouTube that I'd like to unpack and try to understand why there is so much hate against Asmongold. First off, by what I've seen, a lot of the hate against Asmongold seems to have stemmed from other YouTubers' disdain for React content. In my research, I stumbled across a video titled Asmongold is Bad, Why I Don't Like Asmongold Videos by a channel called Savior 3.0. In this video, we hear the usual rant about React content having a negative impact on other channels and YouTube as a platform.
He gets the benefit from all of this unpaid labor. He gets the benefit from all of this hard work from other content creators, but he doesn't actually have to do any of the heavy lifting.
This YouTuber then played an excerpt from a large and actually pretty popular channel called Dark Viper AU, where he spoke in depth about why React content is bad for channels and the platform as a whole, using...
It's definitely bad for the platform. Now I also tell you this, people like it, but it's not bad for the channels.
Asmongold as the primary example.
Over the last few months, I've learned that very few people seem to understand why React content is harmful. React content is a system of exploitation that siphons an incalculable amount of money and exposure away from the hard-working into the pockets of the incredibly lazy.
Well, I don't think they're incredibly lazy, I think they're just lazy, period. That's true, that's a base take. That's a base take. It takes away from the hard labor. It does, but I mean, same time, I mean, it's not like people are gonna ban it. It's a bit of an exploit, but it works, and people like it.
Viper had some decent points and clearly did a lot of research into this, but somehow in this whole video he missed what I believe is the most important aspect of React content. I'll actually read a comment that I found while watching this video because I think it best describes the problem with this argument. I don't agree with the idea that reaction content is stealing. When watching someone like Asmongold, it's not about the original video content itself, but rather about his personal take and commentary. People...
Yeah, so reaction content, I mean, so there's two types, right? You got the lazy 3K streamer that doesn't give a f***, he's just quiet eating. And you got what I do and what Asmongold does, which is giving your opinion about it. Now, obviously, I'm kinda shit at it, but like he's the biggest representation of what it is to like react to something and proactively give your opinion about it. Which I enjoy, by the way, I do.
Watch him because they want to hear his thoughts, see his reactions, and experience his unique perspective. His popularity is built on his personality and how he engages with the content, not just the content itself. Even if he simply talked about the videos without showing them, his audience will still tune in because they're following him and his reactions, not just the video being reacted to. Reaction content requires charisma, personal insight, and the ability to
The reactive content only affects YouTube when he makes a video about it.
Which is what draws viewers in. This is nearly a perfect comment in the context of Asmongold, but the only thing that is disputable is that not all React content is actually done in good faith. Some of it is blatant stealing. The Actman has a fantastic video titled The Dark Side of React Content that I completely recommend on this subject. In fact, in his video, he even mentions how Asmongold reacting to one of his videos, yes, affected its viewership negatively, but how he spoke to Asmongold and Asmon agreed to watch his videos a few days after release in the future.
What I realized is that if you're a big creator who's going to react to someone's video, you should wait at least.
And that's so cool, by the way. The fact that he talked to him and Asmongold said, okay, I'll react to it later so you get the views. That's just one of the things that I think Asmongold is so cool for. Is this the person like you and I?
For it to be
he doesn't pretend to be the big boy, right? It's not pulling out the ad of the big boy.
The algorithm naturally. And that's what Asmon and I talked about and agreed on after this happened.
The Actman then went on to talk about the positive impact reactors like Asmongold have had on his channel.
Some might say, but Actman, he's stealing views from you. Those views belong to you. Maybe they do. I can't say for certain, but what I can say is a lot of people who...
Asmongold specifically, no. They don't. Reason why? A lot of the things he reacts to, they get more views than if he didn't react to it to begin with. Now there are cases where he is proactively taking views, right? But not every case.
are subscribed to my channel wouldn't be subscribed if Asmongold never made these videos.
Although I agree with aspects of Dark Viper AU's video, there's something he says here at 15 minutes and 5 seconds that I completely disagree with.
I hope by the end of this video that you will come to understand why this exposure and money would either entirely or almost entirely have gone to other content creators if not for Asmongold's interference. Not just the people that Asmongold steals labor from, but everyone in the wider market.
You could easily say the same thing about every single channel on YouTube, including Dark Viper AU. Dark Viper has 1.5 billion views that could have otherwise gone somewhere else if he didn't have his channel.
Bottom line, a react video has the same value proposition as going to a movie with a friend. Seeing and discussing a movie with a friend can be more enjoyable than seeing it alone, but you would never say that the friend who took you to the movie should get a cut of the movie's proceeds for sitting in the chair and giving you his opinion on it.
This for me is a gross oversimplification of what is really happening. I would say that react content is more likened to movie.
Like, that's pretty... Yeah, that's not even
commentary. People choose to watch Asmongold or other react creators simply because they are entertaining. Dark Viper AU's video, while incredibly well made, also lacks a very basic understanding. People prefer to watch react content over original videos. Behind every single view is a real person living their real life by choosing how they spend their time. The argument that Asmongold interferes with other people's ability to make money is a massive over-exaggeration. This video clumps people who...
He does. Yeah. But not nearly as much as anybody could think. No. No, it's not even true because, like, if it's taking anything, it's in most cases minimal. Because the people that watch Asmongold wouldn't even watch the video to begin with. So, like, it's what he said earlier. People watch Asmongold for Asmongold. It's not like they will watch the video if Asmongold didn't make a video about it.
Watch Asmongold as this collective hive mind that doesn't really think for itself. I would consider myself an Asmongold enjoyer, and I have absolutely nothing to do with anyone else who watches Asmongold's videos. I just choose what I want to do with my time as a casual guy going about my life.
What you do not see is every time any reaction video appears where your video would have otherwise appeared. Any time where one of your videos would have got an impression, except it then went to a reaction video. You also do not see every time a reaction video is chosen by a viewer instead of one of your videos.
Yeah, so like here's this misconception of that because the views are going to the reaction of the video, they are not going to his video. Now the thing is, if he didn't react to that video, those views from that reaction video wouldn't necessarily go to the video itself. Because what people are there for are for the reaction of the video. For the guy that's reacting to the video, not for the video itself. They don't give a f***, and they will most likely not watch it by themselves.
Now, I am not saying what Dark Viper is arguing is entirely untrue. There are people who would have watched some of these videos without first having seen them through Asmongold, but there's absolutely no way of knowing this, especially to what extent. If it were as simple as Dark Viper AU puts it, then I don't think react channels are the real issue anyway. Consumers choose how they want to spend their time, and that's ultimately what drives viewership. Dark Viper tried...
That's true. Now people like a lot of shit. Well, reaction content is just part of that shit. Yep. That's what it is. People like shit, people are just gonna watch shit.
To dispute this argument in his video by explaining that just because there is a
also
market for it doesn't mean it's a good thing. In my opinion, this argument is possibly the most important on this subject, but Dark actually didn't give a strong enough point to argue against the market deciding on this.
But shouldn't the market decide? No! There is a market for every terrible thing you can imagine. The existence of demand for something does not justify meeting that demand through exploitative means.
The primary message behind Dark Viper's video is that React content is objectively bad or objectively immoral, without giving any hint of acknowledging its nuances. I believe it's important to conclude that React content as a concept has subjectively and objectively good or bad sides depending on the context. At the end of the day, we, the consumers, are in charge. We dictate who profits by where we spend our money or our time. Yes, it's never good as consumers to support something that is explicitly illegal or immoral, but this is why I am challenging this idea that React content is just outright bad. I think...
Bro, like, if you think... If like, reacting content was really that bad, people will ban it off of YouTube. And tweet. But they don't do that. So goes to show.
I think what Dark Viper AU is saying is ultimately in good faith, and there is a lot of truth in this video. I recommend watching this video as he does have a lot of good points depending on context. Yes, there are a lot of bad actors out there that actually do...
Well, to start with, you're watching it right now. And I'll also tell you, gonna kill this little shit. I'll also tell you, most of it is. And I feel like what changes the entertainment of reaction content, it's the input of the person reacting. And that can go from the person just looking at it like... to actively trying to give your opinion and building on it.
Future steal content without even giving any credit. This does exist and I am all for breaking this culture where possible, but I disagree with the argument that all of it is just plain destructive. I had the privilege of having Asmongold react to the very first video I made, the current state of AAA gaming, about 4 or 5 months ago. Because of this, and Asmongold following up by watching 4 more of my videos, my channel exploded. I even memed him about this.
Pretty, isn't it?
Yep.
Perfectly balanced. This whole...
Subscribers aren't really the driving force behind YouTube's success anymore. The algorithm now prioritizes videos with strong watch time relative to their length. Every time Asmongold has watched one of my videos, thousands of people have popped in to leave a like, comment, or even subscribe, which is awesome, don't get me wrong. But then
it isn't reaction content so bad, guys. He shouldn't have gotten those views, or subs, or likes. Damn, react content is so terrible. It's only bad. It only brings bad things, doesn't it?
And naturally, they click off and go about their day as they should. It only takes a few seconds for them to do this, but in the background, YouTube is tracking how long people are actually watching the video as they visit my channel. When thousands of viewers only stick around for under 10 seconds, YouTube's algorithm starts flagging the video as not worth recommending. At the end of the day, YouTube only cares about one thing: advertising revenue, which comes from watch time. So yes, this is a negative, but in the long run, React content can still be incredibly beneficial. While the initial burst of traffic from a big creator's reaction may not convert into consistent viewership right away, it does something equally important. It puts your content in front of a massive audience that would have otherwise never discovered you. Even if a large percentage of these viewers don't stick around, a small fraction will. Those who genuinely enjoy your content beyond the reaction will come back and watch more of your videos and engage with your channel over time. These are the people who become part of your core audience, the ones who comment regularly, watch your videos, and support your growth. Beyond that, exposure from React content can also boost credibility. When a well-known creator reacts to your work, it signals to their audience that you're someone worth checking out. In my case, having Asmongold react to my videos helped give me credibility as a voice in the gaming space.
I'm gonna be To be fair, I don't know, man, because like his channel was already really good, right? So like, if he kept going, he would have gotten to where he is now, probably either way. But like, It sped up the process quite a lot by getting a reaction from Asmongold. It sped up the process of building up something because it put the eyes on him, and the content was good. Like reacting to some low channel is not necessarily going to explode your channel, right? But if you're good and you just need a little push, you're gonna get it. That's just how it goes.
Honest, like this guy, he's really cooking with this video. I actually think this is probably one of the best dissections of like the philosophy behind why these things happen in games that like I've seen. This is really good.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, the guy is good. The guy is good. He is.
This kind of recognition can and has opened doors to collaborations, sponsors, and other opportunities that wouldn't have otherwise been possible. I also think that a potential fix would be a system where YouTube splits revenue from React channels, creating a more collaborative platform. But this is just wishful thinking.
I think, not gonna lie, as much as it will probably hurt to me as it is, I think that will be good. Yeah. Now that will probably hurt me quite a bit, because I'm not low nobody, right? Nobody cares, nobody knows me. But I think that would be great. That would be a way, way better ecosystem than what we have. 100%.
Just a quick side note on this. I've
great.
recently been seeing people say that Asmongold's React videos are just him nodding or agreeing or raising his eyebrows the whole time.
Asmongold gets involved. That's right. The guy that will play a YouTube video in its entirety occasionally raises eyebrows and says the word sure a lot, like the person in the video is in the room with him.
Anyone who actually takes a...
How to tell when don't... It's like, it's so funny. You can instantly tell when somebody doesn't watch Asmongold, and every time it's just funny, bro. It's just funny because like
few
it's
minutes
like
to look into
so
this would see that this is just not true. Just look at my video.
That's what I'm saying.
Side by side the reactions he made
saying.
on them, he clearly adds a lot to these conversations. Now beyond the React content argument, going back to Savior 3.0's video, he then tries to go deeper into the premise that Asmongold is the most nihilistic person he has ever seen.
He doesn't hold much moral values. He seems to basically flip-flop between any type of argument which basically benefits him to his audience. He doesn't have any moral consistency, it seems like, from a lot of his advice and a lot of the stuff that he talks about.
Good.
It seems Asmongold views values as baseless, and he doesn't hold religion or morality with much regard. He might sometimes communicate the usefulness in the individual and society and benefiting society and all that stuff, but it seems like most of his arguments seem to flip-flop because he is literally living in a tiny little echo chamber of basically a Redditor, addicted gamer who somehow got famous.
There's almost no...
True, brother, that's so fucking true. He's never changed. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people value him the most for. He has never changed.
No evidence in his video that he has actually ever watched an Asmongold video, because he even states that Asmongold preaches his lifestyle to his massive audience, which clearly couldn't be further from the truth.
The problem with that is if he doesn't have any educational insights, if he doesn't do any self-development of himself, but
which he does. And he has been, and he has done it, and he still does. So that's a lie.
He's preaching educational ideas to the masses. This is very destructive, and it reinforces, you know, nihilistic tendencies.
That's extremely untrue. And he's the first one to tell you to think by yourself and to not even believe what he says without fact-checking it yourself. So that's not true.
To his audience, and a lot of these people are rather down bad, I would say.
I wish I was as knowledgeable and capable of speaking the way he does. It's one of my dreams, man.
These are people without integrity and morality, and he's reinforcing these ideas to them because he doesn't have any education himself.
Now, to properly dissect what he is saying, yes, Asmongold has definitely shared some nihilistic takes in the past, but I wouldn't say he has fully embraced nihilism in its traditional sense. For those who aren't aware, nihilism is defined as the rejection of all religious and moral principles, in the belief that life is meaningless. Yes, Asmongold has shared his take on how he believes life is meaningless.
Yeah, he's a little bit depressed.
In the grand scheme of things.
He's a little bit depressed,
like,
but it's
pretty
alright.
much no value in like principles or morality. I think that these are top-down ideas that are given to you by the elites. And I think that if you look at most people that are in like an advantageous position, those people don't follow any of those morals or ideals at all.
But
this is true. This is so true.
At the same time, he also seems to balance that with a more pragmatic or even absurdist outlook, arguing that if life has no built-in meaning, we can still create our own.
Because it's not like an aimless life. I do what I want to do. So you have goals? I do have some goals. Yeah, I have things that I want to do, right?
But he by no means has ever encouraged or preached at his audience to have the same mindset that he has himself. In fact, there's a lot of evidence on YouTube alone pointing to the contrary.
Nobody should watch my stream and say, I want to be like this animal.
Thank you.
Listen, I don't think anybody with a successful life should want to be like me.
Thank you.
And I really mean that.
I don't want to, but thank you.
I genuinely mean that. You don't want to live the way that I live. The way that I live is not some sort of enlightened in Buddhist nirvana. It is absolute pure degeneracy.
There is
Hello, Mayoshi, man. Hello, Mayoshi, so much.
This natural tendency that we have as humans to automatically put up a guard against beliefs or worldviews that are either completely unfamiliar to us or contrary to what we ourselves believe. Not everyone is like this, but a lot of us are like this. Nihilism is easy to correlate with historical or fictional figures who have had a negative impact on their society. Some of us might have even experienced personal grief from people with similar worldviews. But this in no way gives ground for automatic hate, nor does it give justification for spreading lies. Now, I do want to ask, please do not go onto Savior's channel to harass him or attack him. He's genuinely trying to convey a message he deeply believes in, and I would say good for him for doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfectly fine to try to be constructive, even if you don't share the same opinion as who you are trying to constructively opinionate over. Like, it's okay to speak your mind. It's okay. Now, that doesn't mean you have to attack anybody. That's not the same. That's not the same.
We can simply disagree and move on. As Aristotle once wrote,
yeah,
it
you
is
can
a
agree or
mark of an
disagree,
educated
that's fine.
mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting.
When I say that I love Asmongold so much, I'm never saying, guys, you should really love Asmongold. He is the best and you're grown. You should love Asmongold no matter what you believe. I never said that. I just said that I really like him. And I do. I mean it. And
This brings me to
I'm
my
very
next
annoying
point
with
on
it.
why some people dislike Asmongold. There's a strange tendency, especially among those chronically online, to equate disagreeing with someone to hating them. Asmongold says some pretty crazy unhinged stuff, and he doesn't back down. And we all know people don't like it when others are.
He has mastered rage baiting. He has mastered it.
Like this.
America
And like when you can see through it, it's so funny. I love
deserved
it.
9/11, dude. F it. I'm saying it.
A good example of this would be the controversies surrounding Asmongold's take on
So
AI
funny.
and art last year.
Artists'
love it.
opinions don't matter because what matters is the opinion of the people that are buying the product.
It's genuinely sad that people seem unable to disagree in a healthy, constructive way. Asmongold doesn't shy away from controversial takes, and some people don't like this.
Oh,
I've
he
gone
doesn't
around
give a
many
shit.
Twitch and YouTube channels throughout the last year, and I find it fascinating how most channels are easily seen as mini echo chambers. I don't think many help dispute these claims, but I can also see how those who don't actually watch Asmongold can point fingers at his channel and say the same thing. but I've actually never seen a content creator who sides against his entire audience live as much as Asmongold does. He clearly doesn't pander to his audience. The man has even riled me up at times with some of his takes.
Like, the fact that Halo Infinite didn't launch with an official Battle Royale mode is unforgivable.
But
I know there was a few times where I was like, Mayoshi, what the fuck are you saying? Now I can't remember exactly what it was, but remember, like, there was at least 2 takes that he had where I was like, oh my god. And like, partially it's because like he's been like me kind of with the WoW, playing only WoW for so many years, right? So he never really got to experience a lot of games. So his perspective into games is very like, bro, what the fuck, man? Because I've been playing the same shit for so long, so like, he's giving his honest opinion, but that's because he really hasn't experienced as much as a lot of people. So that's what it varies, right? Like saying that about was so good when it was alright. It was alright. I didn't even play. And like at first I was like, damn, that looks cool. I might play. And then the game came out and I was like, not playing this piece of shit.
I believe this is actually healthy, and I'll explain why later. I came across this video titled The Most Disgusting Man of All Time, Asmongold, by a YouTuber named The Angry Asian. I watched it hoping he'd present a solid argument with some real weight to it. Unfortunately, despite the video being 13 minutes and 38 seconds long, he only spent about 1 minute actually accusing Asmongold of anything substantial.
He genuinely has the most racist and misogynistic takes on gaming and just in general.
Asmala, is this your channel?
I've ever seen in my entire life.
Is that whenever I see like a game that comes out and it has, you know, this is feudal Japan and like the main character is a black guy and a girl, I immediately like, there's like no escapism that this can provide, because the entire story is built on the foundation of trying to appeal to a quote modern audience.
And even in this clip, Asmongold makes a valid point. If a game is set in historical feudal Japan, it shouldn't call itself historical while altering history just so the developers can push a political agenda. This guy literally spent the rest of the...
Don't really agree with it, Will. I can see where it's coming from, but I don't think that will affect me, but that's personally. And I think most people will be the same, right? You make a big black guy be cool as fuck. I don't think nobody will give a shit. I don't think that if anything that will improve the game. You make him look cool, that's all that matters. People play it. Nobody's going to care.
Whole video ranting about Asmongold's living choices and hygiene.
How do people view Asmongold as a respected streamer and they value his opinions on gaming or just any topic in general when this motherfucker dead ass lives in his landfill that he calls a house? Would you?
To be honest, I think Asmongold might be the streamer, YouTuber that I value his gaming opinion the most. But I also know that his opinion is not always right because he hasn't really experienced that many games. So that it really depends. Like at the end of the day, I'm not gonna blindly follow it, but I'll use it as a like starter key. 1 second.
Give a single shit what a homeless person living under a bridge on a highway has to say to you. More than likely, you wouldn't give a single what he has to say. So why would you care what Asmongold has to say? Because let's be honest here, guys. Those homeless people living under a bridge 1000% are cleaner than this motherfucker. How else do you look?
There, sorry, family. Let me go back a little bit. God, you have VIP on the small Twitch. I wish. That'd be cool. I don't really care. I don't really care. I don't type on it. I do watch it. It's pretty much the only stream that I watch, but I don't care, man.
You
like Here's the thing. I love Asmongold so much, Mayoshi, whatever. I don't give a fuck if he never knows who I am. I don't care. I don't look at him as enlightening being like he's my god, whatever. Not at all. I see him as the most relatable person that I can find on the internet. And that's it. He's not like some sort of god that I like pray to every time that I go to sleep and every time I wake up. Not at all.
More than likely, you wouldn't give a single what he has to say. So why would you care what Asmongold has to say? Because let's be honest here, guys. Those homeless people living under a bridge 1000% are cleaner than this motherfucker. How else do you look at
I wouldn't know that, to be honest.
This motherfucker
I
by
wouldn't
not
know that.
just saying, this dude is nasty as
Substantial hate that comes from a place of genuine critical thinking will always result in real evidence of why there is the hate. If we look at history or even fiction, there are many figures that automatically draw hate out of us, mostly because of at least one fundamental cause.
I can't think of a single person on this human realm that instantly draws hate from me. I just don't care. I don't.
At least one decision that these figures have made that have brought this hate upon themselves, and it is always a decision that has affected other beings. Saying that you hate Asmongold because you think he is gross when his decisions actually don't negatively impact
Never mind, yeah, you're right, the chunker. Sorry, I lied.
anyone but himself shows me
chunker
that
is
there
very
is a
annoying.
problem with you more than there is a
Thank you, guys. Thank you for not being an echo chamber that just agrees with everything I say.
problem with Asmon. I would understand wanting to show him maybe compassion or sympathy, but this has no grounds for hate. I would completely understand the hate if he had maybe a wife or a child or a pet that he was directly affecting, but he doesn't. Why is it then that so many people throw hate?
I mean, not necessarily. It doesn't like have to be affecting directly his family. Like he can just be, like he could be such a bitch and like be like, I'm gonna make X persons on the internet life unsufferable when they haven't done anything to me or anybody that's worth making their life insufferable. If we did that, then that would be a reasonable, like, thing to hate him for.
And shame at Asmongold for this. Now let's look at another reason for the hate against Asmongold. This one has no
Hazmal, are you listening? This is gonna be important.
substance, and I know because I genuinely try to
This is
find
important.
evidence of
This
this.
is important.
But within some communities, we see people constantly trying to out
This is literally what people hate him the most for. Like by far, like besides the stakes, how he lives. That they just make fun of that. This is genuinely what people hate him for.
Asmongold as a fascist, racist, sexist, and transphobe. Almost every argument on this is either completely baseless or just plain false. The closest thing to actual evidence that I can find to support this accusation of racism
Is the time that he got banned.
is Asmongold's controversy around his suspension on Twitch from October last year. Most people already know what happened, but I want to share my view on it so you can understand from my perspective why I believe at the end of the day, Asmongold's reaction to this gained him more respect from his core audience than it lost. First off, Asmongold messed up. He said something that was
Yep.
blatantly prejudice against an entire culture. There is a level of truth from the perspective of extremist religions, but Asmongold didn't say this. Instead, he broad brushstroked his point and called out an entire culture. He messed up, but you know who also believes he really messed up here? Asmongold.
So a couple of days ago, I made some comments about Palestine, some just general, basically opinions that were trivializing the genocide that's happening there. I said something about it that was disgusting. I
Mayoshi, man.
said that I didn't care about innocent people getting killed by another force, by anything. And I think that that's a horrible, disgusting, mean-spirited thing to say.
During the 2-week Twitch suspension Asmongold faced, I couldn't help but find either one of these two extreme views on the situation all over X. On one side, people were defending Asmongold,
but nobody will ever listen to that part. They'll just keep it and keep complaining.
And saying he was stating facts. And on the other side, we had people calling him racist, fascist, and worse.
And I guarantee you anybody that agreed with him there got banned. If they kept going after he said that on his chat, they're banned. All of them.
Words I don't even want to repeat here. But one thing that can't be disputed here is the fact that Asmongold actually messed up. He made an awful judgment on what he said, and he faced the consequences.
And when it happened, I was there to say, yeah, he fucked up. He shouldn't have said that, and that was wrong. Now, didn't I? I'm pretty sure the people that are here that were there in the moment know that I did this and said it. I don't condone that.
Now, this is where I personally garnered enormous respect for him. Asmongold took responsibility for his actions.
Something that people are scared to do nowadays, yeah.
He didn't fight against it. In fact, he even showed gratitude for being held to account because he was able to take a back step and see himself becoming someone that he found detestable.
This is what's so crazy about it. I think this has been going on now for like 2 years. I think that I've been slowly devolving into the most mean-spirited, rude, nasty, callous, psychopathic version of myself. And a lot of my friends have told me this. My dad has...
Sorry, my bad.
I think that I've been slowly devolving into the most mean-spirited, nasty, callous, psychopathic version of myself. And a lot of my friends have told me this. My dad has told me this. He said, you've got to chill out. You've got to calm down. I've been like, oh, that old man doesn't know what he's talking about. And I've finally had some level of accountability for that. And thank God.
His response to the situation really showed his true colors. He took the L and he apologized. I then couldn't believe the reaction from some of his own audience when he apologized. Some of them believed Asmongold followed an unwritten golden rule of never apologizing under any circumstances, which is clearly a complete misinterpretation of his actual stance.
Yeah, it is. It's a big misinterpretation. What Asmongold says, unless you are sorry, unless you are genuinely sorry, without any effect from social pressure, unless you're genuinely sorry and you really believe you're wrong, you should never apologize. And this is an internet truth. You give them a hand, they take the whole body. They take your whole family down just from giving a hand.
Asmongold has always stood by the principle of not apologizing in the context of pandering to people for a level of false peace or tolerance. He has always been against apologizing if you don't believe you've done anything wrong. Apologizing is never a weakness if it's genuine. I believe Asmongold's reaction bettered quite a lot of his audience. People seeing him respond like this challenged them as well.
All the people that were saying that it was based or that he shouldn't have apologized, it's so good that they left him because they weren't even supposed to be there and nobody wanted them there. And those were part of the echo chamber that he had been creating for a while, and it's really good, and they all left. He only apologized because of the backlash. So, in the video that he was basically crying, saying sorry and how fucked up that was, a person that's basically all he does is being genuine all the time. You think it was because of the backlash? If it wasn't for the backlash, he wouldn't have apologized. Is that it? Because I don't think... If you want to believe it, I mean, we can't... So that's one thing that we can't really prove, right? There's no proof to me being right or you being wrong. But like the odds say... The odds lean towards something. And that something may not be necessarily what you believe.
Maybe not enough people actually saw what really happened here, but it was a genuine sign of good character that I wish I saw in other content creators or influencers. This is one of the reasons I still have a lot of love and respect for PewDiePie to this day. One of my favorite words in the world is the word accountable. Humans are extremely fallible and we can have some...
If it wasn't for the backlash, it might not have realized the mistake. No, yeah, no, you're completely right. You know, it's not a maybe. No, you are completely right. If he didn't get the backlash and he didn't ban, he wouldn't have realized. He would have kept going. Now, there will be a breaking point either way because there's only so much you can do without getting banned. When it happened to him, I was so happy. I was so happy because he finally realized that he was spiraling down into the retardation zone. So I was very happy that he got debunked. Because that waking up from his stupidity. Because that was stupid. No person in this world with a mind could tell you that what he did there was right. It was grown, and his tone had been changing for a while to something bad. Yeah, you're completely right. It's hard to self-reflect with outside perspective. It is, and I suffer from this all the time. Every content creator does, and that's why I'm always saying, and I want my channel to be like his. I don't want you guys to agree with me on everything. I value honesty and accountability. If I'm obviously wrong, I like to know. I don't want an echo chamber, that's bad.
Terrible blind spots in our lives. So any content creator...
Now when it comes to shooter, if you tell me something is one way and I'm saying the other way, I'm usually right, because I know a lot about that. But anyways...
that advocates for accountability is a content creator that I believe is worth following.
But anyways...
I don't believe this controversy makes Asmongold a racist. It actually just reaffirms Asmongold as being a genuine fallible dude who can own his faults and advocate for bettering himself.
His take was racist and that's why he got banned. Is he racist? I don't think so.
Another reason I like Asmongold is he tends to play devil's advocate against himself. Asmongold has this beautiful...
So here's the thing, you imagine you get really mad, like really mad, like you get extremely mad, extremely super mad, and you get mega stressed as fuck while you're mega mad, and like the person that made you mad was black. You know where I'm going with this, right? You know where I'm going with this. Imagine you call the guy the N-word, does that make you racist forever? For the end of days, now you're forever going to be known as a racist. The answer is no. And if you believe is yes, well, you got a problem.
Ability at times to approach controversial subjects in good faith. It's something I've noticed about him over the...
Just like PewDiePie in the bits? Yep, you got that right. Did that make PewDiePie racist? Well, a lot of people believe it, right? A lot of people, oh yeah, he's fucking racist. I hate this guy. So, yeah, you know what I mean? Stupid take, honestly. You think he's racist because of that? Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're grown.
Years, and it's definitely a quality I hope he never loses. He doesn't always do this, but when he does, I find myself personally challenged. This has naturally encouraged his audience, including me, to have a slightly broader perspective when looking into controversial topics where people usually have an established bias. Take for instance a post on X last year from Kelly Lombardi, a global games product marketing manager at Xbox. Given how polarizing the gaming industry has become in recent years, it would be easy to look at her post and label her as an anti-white liberal elitist and move on. If anyone had the prerogative to lean into that narrative, it would be Asmongold. But instead, Asmongold challenged his audience and himself by sharing how he viewed Kelly's post from her perspective.
Am I the person that's going to have the hot take that this isn't really that big of a deal and I don't really find this to be inherently racist?
But what did
the
it say?
problem is that when you're a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. And I don't think this one's a nail, guys. I don't. Like, I don't think that this is advocating for, like, any sort of exclusion. I don't think it's advocating for degradation. I don't think this one is that big of a deal. Am I crazy? And I get how you could perceive this as being bad. I do. And, like, I totally see that. But, like, I try to interpret things in good faith.
Seeing him do this really struck me.
Honestly, what did she say?
Prerogative to lean into that narrative, it would be Asmongold. But instead, Asmongold challenged his audience and himself by sharing how he viewed Kelly's post from her perspective.
Am I?
Oh my god, what? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't say.
Like any sort of a big
I was
deal.
to be able to say it.
It really struck me at the time, and it
maybe my editor can find it later on the video. I don't know what you said.
Pushed me to rethink my own assumptions. It even bettered me as a man in how I approach things critically. Because my original approach to this post was anything but graceful. Like I said, Asmongold doesn't always do this, but he does do this. And it always gets his audience either thinking or actually annoyed. Another great trait that I believe Asmongold has that I personally like is that he stands behind what he believes. Although I sometimes disagree with Asmongold's approach to tackling some of these issues, I really appreciate how he doesn't back down from what he believes in, regardless of how unpopular his opinion is.
Yeah, I mean, he is a very assertive person.
Even live with his audience. Maybe it's pure stubbornness, but I think it's good because it gets his audience thinking. Something for me that shows either really good character or a complete lack of caring is that despite immense wealth and fame, Asmongold doesn't change. I'm not really going to talk about the subject
Really, you look like a homo, man. God damn.
too much because it could just come from a place of genuinely not caring. But I've seen wealth do some pretty terrible things to some pretty awesome people. And I'm glad Asmongold just stayed true to being himself.
Didn't hire a maid for a multi-million-dollar mansion. He stayed humble for real. 100p on a stack.
It is far too easy to demonize someone by taking what they say out of context or pushing your own bias using their own videos against them. So you could argue that I did the same thing here, but instead of demonizing Asmongold, I did the opposite. I'm not saying that Asmongold is without his faults. I'm just saying it's worth thinking critically about these things for yourself and coming to your own conclusions.
Which is what he tells you to do.
I think one of my goals with my YouTube channel is to try and help pull people out of any type of echo chamber they might be a part of. I find myself easily slipping into echo chambers that support my own biases, but I am always trying to broaden my perspective and look at things a little bit more critically.
Me too.
A lot of the hate Asmongold gets, at least the kind people think is genuinely justified, comes down to ideological differences. If you look around X, Reddit, and YouTube, you'll find plenty of posts from people who strongly believe in ideas like DEI, identity politics, or even critical race theory, going after Asmongold simply because he speaks out against these ideas. What's interesting is that a lot of these people don't seem to engage with his actual points or arguments.
Sadly, critical thinking isn't something a lot of people have. I've come to the conclusion that to have critical thinking, you have to your mind has to have a breaking point where you transcend and you look at the world from the top. Like you gotta break your biases entirely. God, I hate this shit. Now, everybody can think critically, but there are levels to it, because your bias will always be there, knocking at the door to say what you really want to say. But you gotta fight your mind and keep fighting and keep fighting to look at it, to look at whatever you're looking at in an objective way. So, like, there comes a point where you can break through, but it's extremely difficult, it's extremely unpleasant, and not everybody wants to do it, and that's why there's so very few people that can critically think outside of their biases entirely. Very few people. And fortunately, part of my unfortunate reality, which is autism and a bunch of other shit in my head, it makes it so I was born with this. So I basically had the entry level of this at the moment I was born. So I can definitely understand how it is not having that. And that's fine. Because at the end of the day, critically thinking is not really gonna help you in life. Nobody gives a fuck if your take is more objectively correct or not, unless you're working on something that is direct value. And most jobs, nobody gives a fuck if you think that, like, you should give, like, I don't know, man. It's because, like, I can't think of a good example without leaning into, like, stupid shit like politics. Nobody cares. I don't give a shit if you can critically think.
I just see that he challenges certain
doesn't
progressive
matter.
ideas
It literally
and
doesn't
instantly
matter.
label him as problematic or toxic. It's more about
it's just
defending
a way
their
to
own
look with a
worldview than
superior
actually considering what he is saying. In reality, his
value, I
views
don't know.
often seem more about calling out the extremes on both sides rather than attacking any one group. But of course, nuance doesn't always fit into the internet's outrage cycle. Now, I do want to add a disclaimer that I don't always agree with everything Asmongold says or does. Politically...
God, to start streaming, are you a big politics person? I got the perfect way for you. I got the perfect way for you. There you go. That's the perfect way. You see this? This is my honest opinion. That's how I feel about politics.
And philosophically, we have quite a few differing perspectives, especially when it comes to some of our worldviews. But this in no way should ever be a reason for me to spread hate towards him. Because I sometimes disagree with him, he has actually encouraged me to see things from a different perspective, which I appreciate and has actually taught me a lot. It's natural for people to hate people. We're born with this instinct. I personally try not...
Hate creates love, love creates hate.
to hate anyone myself, but that's because I build my life on my Christian beliefs and worldview, and I also want to honor God with my life. But one thing I don't believe anyone should ever do is spread unnecessary hate towards anyone, especially if it has no substance. I am an advocate of holding individuals or corporations accountable for their actions or behaviors, if there is genuine warranted evidence to do so.
True. True and real. Like, even that,
Thank you everyone for watching my video, and thank you so much to my Patreons for all your support. I might do a part 2 on this in the far future, but I just really wanted to get my thoughts out on here because I've been seeing this conversation for a little too long without any level of critical thinking from a lot of people. And like I said, please can we not harass anyone? I do not want to spread hate. That is the complete opposite of what I'm trying to do here.
Thank you for saying it, but people will do what people lose.
Let's all make this a beautiful place where we can all disagree healthily. If you completely disagree with any of my points, I would love to actually converse with you in the comments below. Let's keep it civil, obviously, but I really want to see some of your perspectives on any of these topics, and maybe we can all work together to better.
Great video though, I really liked it. Yeah, he's completely true, real and based.